Sometimes when you speak, people object to what you have to say, and this can happen in different ways. And left untreated, it may end up with misunderstanding, lack of rapport, and in the worst case, failure to convince. Objections come in different forms, some of them easier to see and deal with than others. But in all their forms, your first basic mission and strategy to deal with the objection will be the same. Try to understand the objection by asking questions. Imagine you're speaking about your new product and an audience member says, "This is rubbish, it'll never work." Now, this is a direct objection and it's easy to see. The typical presenter will reply by defending the idea, adding reasons why it is good and will work. Maybe the presenter gets lucky and says the right thing. But the risk of not getting lucky, repeating irrelevant things or countering with bad arguments is too high. In reality, the audience member who objected has done so for a reason. And because the presenter doesn't know what it is, he or she doesn't know what they're dealing with. So just ask. What is it that concerns you about my proposal? Or why do you think it's rubbish? Doesn't matter what the question is, just seek to get more information on where the objection comes from. Sometimes the objections are not so direct. The audience member says something like, "Don't you think there's a risk of no? Typical reaction, no, it'll be fine. Or the audience member says, "And how do you think this is going to work for HR?" The presenter, maybe having already thought a little bit about this, gives an answer, HR. Or maybe someone says, "Do you really think it'll work?" Just after the presenter said why they really think it will work. So, yes, they reply, and repeats their reasons why. But in all these cases, the person who has objected has done so for a reason. It's just that the presenter doesn't know what it is. So ask. What risks do you foresee? Is there something specific that makes you think about what would happen with HR? Or, well, yes, I've told you that I really do believe it works, but is there something that's bothering you about it? In the first two types of objections, things are pretty easy. You hear a direct objection, or you get the feeling that the question hides some indirect objection, so you ask. After that, maybe you can bring out the right arguments. Maybe you agree to disagree, or possibly you will have to accept that yes, you got it wrong and you'll have to think it over with this new information. But whatever happens, you will have understood. Now, the third type of objection is a bit trickier because you might not know that it's happening. But the strategy is the same. Ask questions. Suppose our presenter is busy talking away and no one says anything. Nobody asks anything, nobody says it's rubbish, nobody comes with funny little questions. But actually, some people are quietly disagreeing. They don't say anything, but they don't accept what the presenter says. So to deal with silent objections, you have to seek them out proactively. Some people just wouldn't like to interrupt, or feel bad to go against people, or just want to wait until it's their turn to speak up. But if you just made an important point, why not ask for feedback already? Why not give them a chance to speak while it's there? So there are three different types of objections: direct, indirect, and silent. Sometimes people do disagree. And even if you just want to say more to convince them, first ask questions. You might get useful information. You'll avoid misunderstanding each other and maybe avoid creating a horrible, funny feeling of lack of rapport. With a little bit of luck, you might even get some information that will help you to be more convincing.